Hello everybody, it's Wallace Whispers and I'm back with another video for you today. This is going to be a travel story. I was trying to make it a role play, but it didn't really work out, so I'm just going to tell you how it is, straight, nice and simple, a little chat between you and I. So, we recently went to Berlin, me and my rap collective. We were going to work with some producers and rappers over in Berlin that one of our boys knew, which was a great opportunity. So we went a couple of weeks ago. We flew out on the Monday early morning, and then we flew back Saturday very late. Arrived home at about midnight, back to Edinburgh. The work that we went over there to do, I would say went well. We made, if I remember correctly, we made 5 songs with these German producers and rappers. They came out fantastically. I was very happy with them. Everyone was just having a great time. We've got some Loverboy tunes, we've got some Flexer tunes, we've got a almost garage tune in the mix. So it was pretty cool. It was really good fun. And we also shot a lot of content in terms of music videos and such, and B-roll. We had a content list, which I think we fulfilled. We wanted a B-roll music video, and we also wanted to film verses for a tune that we had done in Edinburgh, relating to Berlin. So, for example, in my verse, I mentioned Brandenburg Gate, so I filmed my verse of Brandenburg Gate. One of the other boys mentioned the Reichstag, so he filmed his verse at the Reichstag, and so on and so forth. So that aspect of it was really good. It was a very productive time away, and the work was great fun as well. They had a studio. It was in ghetto. It was in like East Berlin ghetto, but it was good. It was really chill. They had a nice little setup going. They're hustlers just like us. So the studio was a little bit ghetto, but it was actually really nice. Had a really class time, and all of them are really nice people. Rated them a lot, and they're all very talented. So the work was good, which is what we went there to do primarily. However, I would say the rest of the holiday could have gone a little bit better, and I think that's putting it lightly. Just a lot of things went wrong. So one of my boys missed his flight twice. So he had a connecting flight. He was flying from Edinburgh to Dublin and then Dublin to Berlin, to save a little bit of money, because after we bought our flights the prices like rocketed. So he missed his first flight to Dublin, and then from Dublin he missed the connecting flight by like 2 minutes to Berlin. So that was a disaster. So he ended up coming maybe 24 hours late. Had to spend the night in Dublin, but fair play to him. He made the most of it. He shot some content, made some beats, sorted out some samples. So fair play to him. I wouldn't have done that. I would have been absolute raging and just sat sulking in the airport. So a couple of other things happened. I'll just run through the holiday. The first night we were there, we met up with the German boys at a restaurant just opposite our hostel. Well, the food factory opposite our hostel. So we met up with them, and we went for a few drinks. We went to this shisha bar, which was actually really nice. I don't really usually smoke shisha, but it was a special occasion. It was actually fairly chill. We were on these comfy kind of sofas, just smoking shisha, chatting, laughing. It was a good time. Then after that, we walked for ages. to go back to one of their flats to pick some stuff up. And then some of us went to Monkey Bar. Now, Monkey Bar was really good. It was this very bougie rooftop bar that kind of overlooked a part of the city. So that was cool. Drinks were very expensive. Berlin is an expensive city. So the drinks were super expensive, but we had a good time. That was night one. All the nights kind of went into a blur, not because I went out a lot or I was necessarily steaming or anything, but I just can't really remember what happened on which night. But on the second night, I believe we went into the studio and then we went out. We visited this bar and it was class. Downstairs you could smoke inside, all these like cool little chiller spots. The dance floor was like rotating. It was a pretty cool vibe for sure. And then I called it a day at about 2 in the morning, got an Uber back to the hostel. Some of my boys stayed out though, and 2 of them managed to get spiked, unfortunately. So that wasn't great. So I got up in the morning and went out to shoot some content with some of the other boys that came back earlier, and we were wondering all day where the boys were, not really knowing where everyone was. Everyone was sleeping really, really late. And then when we got back to the hostel, before we were going out for dinner, I found out about this. We all found out about it, and I was like, oh no, that's terrible, obviously. And 2 of the boys had like switched rooms. One of the boys who was in a mixed dorm came into our dorm. Therefore, the boy that was in our dorm went into the mixed dorm, so we didn't know where he was. Obviously, he was sleeping, and he had the key card, so we didn't really know where he was. So it was a little bit of a panic, but he turned up eventually. And yeah, it was just a rough day for those boys. Felt super brutal for them. Berlin's a mad city. It's pretty dangerous. Some sketchy people there for sure. So then the next couple of days were just shooting content and being in the studio, making tunes. And then on the last night of the holiday, we were on the way back from the studio. The Berlin boys wanted to work throughout the night till like 4 in the morning, but we weren't very keen on that. Since it was our last night in Berlin, we wanted to go out and proper go out to a club or whatever. We ended up getting split up on the way home. So me and 2 of my other boys went to a bar and then another bar, and then we phoned the other boys and they were like, right, meet us at Watergate. So we started walking to Watergate, and then my friend realised that he didn't have his phone on him, which was really bad, because his phone has a lot of important stuff on it. So we spent the best part of like an hour retracing our steps, maybe even longer than that, retracing our steps, trying to find this phone. It was a major stress, it was a major hassle. My pal was quite upset about it, but we were looking for it, couldn't find it, but we managed to log into his iCloud, and everything that he desperately needed was on his iCloud account, so that was a saving grace. So we met up with the rest of the boys, we went to this club that was okay, and we just kind of danced until the early hours, and then went back to the hostel, made sure to get late checkout, and then on the last day, the last day, we were just super tired, went to a restaurant to get food. The service was absolutely horrible, like horrendous. Everyone was so rude, so we ended up just leaving without paying because they didn't bring half our food they brought us the wrong food, and they were incredibly rude and ignored us the entire time. So we were like, right, see you later, and I'm going to pay for food if we're getting treated like that. It was a big chain, so I didn't feel that bad about it. None of us did. But yeah, Berlin is and then our flight was delayed on the way home. So not the best time away, if I'm being honest. The work we went there to do, as I said, was fantastic, but everything else was a little bit, it could have gone better, basically. I personally am not in any rush to go back to Berlin. I would say, apart from the boys we were working with, don't get me wrong, they were the nicest guys. But it seemed that almost everyone else I encountered there was just really rude. It was almost like as soon as they heard you speaking English, they were just rude to you. That is what it seemed like. Maybe I've got that twisted. Maybe I've got that the wrong way around. But that is the impression I got. They'd greet you with a smile as soon as you spoke English. They would not just like be annoyed that you didn't speak the language, because I understand that when someone doesn't speak a language of the country that they're in, yes, it is frustrating, but they almost treated us, or me anyway, like disrespectfully when they heard that I was speaking English or we were speaking English. All smiles, and then just really rude and disrespectful, and just not accommodating at all. Is what it is. Everything's very far away. It's not I would say it's not a relaxing city. It takes effort to do anything because everything's so far away. In Edinburgh, for example, you get one bus. It's going to take you where you need to go 90% of the time. But when we were in Berlin, you'd get a tram and then walk for 15 minutes or walk for 20 minutes or half an hour. Or you'd get a train and then a tram. Things were just miles away from each other. The architecture is not my favourite. It's very square. Very, it's not saying much about it. The weather was awful though, so that's never going to help the look of a city. And to top it all off, cherry on the cake, we all got extremely ill, like really ill. I don't know why, but I can honestly say I got the worst cough I've ever had, in my life. This was a week and a half ago, and I'm still trying to shake it. You can probably hear that my voice is a little bit raspy. That's why I've not been recording videos. Up until the last couple of days, I've not been able to make it through a sentence without coughing. My lungs, there'll be cuts in this video, and that's where I've started coughing. So yeah, we all got super ill, a little bit of a bummer. So, in summary, the Berlin trip wasn't everything that we hoped for. However, the Berlin boys are coming over here in summer for the Fringe probably, so we're going to do some good work, we're going to have a good time. It's not that we don't want to see those boys again, we just never want to go to Berlin again, basically. Yeah, it was difficult, but that is my honest review of Berlin. If you've been there and you've had a similar experience or a contradicting experience, let me know. I'd love to hear everyone's stories, even if it's not been Berlin. If you've been somewhere exciting recently, drop it down in the comments below, because I do love to hear from you guys. I'm sorry for the absence, but I'm back on the up and up. More videos to come soon. So in the interest of a short outro, have a good morning, afternoon, evening and night. I've been Wallace Whispers.